Hey everyone, I'm sorry I couldn't make it into class today. But today's class is really fun because you get to work with each other and you get to sort out what matters and what is the best, what's the most important, and how to organize it and how to validate those things through mind maps. So I'm going to show you three things, hopefully briefly. What's impact? How's that measured? That's an easy concept. How are you going to measure impact with a couple of databases called Scopus and Web of Science? And then how to make mind maps will be the basis of most of the class. So the first thing, what's impact? So if I write a song and I put it up on Spotify and no one listens to it, I have no impact. If I'm Taylor Swift and I have like the top 10 for a week all to myself, that's impact. So how that's measured in the guide, you can see there's different ways of measuring impact. So the Billboard Top 100 does like by streaming and media uses. For if you wanted to look at websites, Google Trends shows you what's going on. That one's fun to muck around in, but I'm not going to take that today. But go in and type things, and you'll see what states look for that the most. If you go to Amazon and you want to buy something, you can see like toothbrushes you can order by best reviewed or most popular or best selling. And in scholarship, you can do that with these two databases, Scopus and Web of Science. So let me briefly show you Scopus. So in class today, when you're making a mind map, if you're missing something or if you have two things and you don't know how to sort them, this is a database that allows you to do that. So I'm going to do Generation Z or college students as my population. I'm going to add a search field and I'm going to do social media or Instagram. Whoops. And then I'm going to have it in the title. So I could do it in the abstract of the title. So I'll have that be in that way. So how many articles do you think there are? There's probably a zillion of them. Oh, 484. How do I know what the most important one is? What has the greatest impact is the one that got cited the most, right? So if you go over here, you can sort by number of times cited. So that's in a nutshell. So you can see this one from 2016 was so important that it was cited 418 times. College students' use of online media, that was cited 296 times. And you can see the dates of them, and you can go in and you can see those things, or you can click on those. That's how you measure impact in scholarship. You can also go through and look at a few other things, like how many times it shows up in a newspaper, or you can see Google Ngrams. So for example, when I was a kid, they talked about satanic cults a lot. And I was like, whoa, that must have showed up in the 1700s or the 1800s. And when you go there, you can actually see when did that word have an impact. And it looks like it was just a craze in the 1980s, which is when I was a kid. So how do we move ahead to mind maps? A mind map is where you have a bunch of ideas and you want to break them out into a narrative, kind of like stepping stones, where you're helping somebody. This is a good picture. You're helping somebody where they don't know something and you want to bring them over to the other side where they know things. Each stepping stone should be a discrete or known point that's backed up by a scholarly article. So it's evidence-based. So when we're talking about Instagram, one article might be about Instagram. Another one might be how people consume it. Another one might be about Instagram and depression, and so on and so forth. And by the time your reader gets to the other side, they will have an understanding. And your voice is important. So how you make that is via a mind map. So let me show you. I'll go with sample number 3 first. So this is what you'll be doing in class today. Take your resources that you already have, or you can find more in Scopus or Web of Science, and you're going to map them out. And each article, each item of information has its own little identity. So here we have Frankenstein, that was the most important one. And there was an article about goth culture, article about monsters, psychology, loneliness. And then there was a tie, and you can see that these are loose ties, but then all of a sudden here's a really strong tie, which is the author. And you just kind of draw, but each word is an article that you found. Let me show you another one. This one's a little more complex. Awkward silence. This one, the main point was social work and education. And you can see that they chose to use different colors. Sometimes they stuck symbols like people or a star for importance. There was little submaps and things going on. And sometimes you can see where they had one, like students' individuality here. And there was a line that said mitigating suicide risk. And there's a big line over here to a body of literature. So you can draw these connections as you go. And if you want to erase connections or re-emphasize or have some word be big or have some word be smaller, let me show you one last one. How do you do a mind map? While this last one is coming up, you take your most important central theme. In this case, it is in mental health for this one. They show somebody coping. The most important theme goes in the middle, and it can be a picture, it can be a word. And then each item attached to it should have its own article behind it. So if you are going through a list of items in a bibliography, each one should have a generalizable point or a main idea that you could put up there. And then as you go through this, you can make logical sense of this. And you can start to build that bibliography and validate the order of things that you do. You can also, very importantly, find if you have a bunch of articles on one thing, you can then narrow it down and weed those out. I hope everything goes well, and I apologize for not being there.